Alright, boys and girls, it is time to talk about the next Anberlin album from their discography on my way to listening through all their albums and ready to get ready for the concert this month. And now we are on the album New Surrender. Now, New Surrender was a really important album for them because this was their first album on a major label. They were now under Universal Republic and they were getting a producer, Neil Averin, who'd worked with Fall Out Boy and Yellow Card, and this was kind of their shot to be with the more mainstream emo boys. Christian McElhaney was also added to the lineup for guitars, and that led to another writer and another guitarist. And what we have in this album is not a completely new sound, but we have a little bit of a new sound and some experimentation from them that we hadn't heard before. As the band has matured over its span up to this point, and as their sound had kind of leaned towards darker emotional topics and more depressing themes, this one actually leans a little bit more towards having some more light moments. Stephen Christian's signature sound is still there, but we get a lot of different sounds from the band that are a little bit more happy and less melancholy. That's where I'm not sure how much I like what the album does, because some of those tracks, they just come across as kind of corny or bland. Now, here's the thing. I've listened to New Surrender more than I've listened to any of the other Anberlin albums to date, and it's actually taken me longer to do this review than it's taken me to do any of the other reviews, and that's because I just really can't get a feel for, I don't want to say I can't get a feel for the album, but I can't get a feel for what I want to say about it, because this is the most middling album I've had to review or think about critically in a long time. There's nothing particularly overtly bad about the album, but there's also not a ton that's just overtly amazing about the album either. It's kind of a take it or leave it album. The Resistance starts off the album with a really good familiar Anberlin feel, but then it immediately goes into some other tracks, like track 3 is called Blame Me, and this track has some really, really good lyricism to it. But unfortunately, I find the chorus, especially in the music, just kind of grating as it's repetitive. And it does get stuck in your head. Like maybe that was a little bit more of a poppy, catchy feel they were going for, but it doesn't stick in my head in a good way. And I didn't even realize until I really dug down with the lyrics this time that I really like the lyrics, and I think that they're really well written, because I had a really hard time seeing past the fact that I just don't like this song musically. Now, because this album is the first time that a lot of new people might be hearing of Anberlin, they re-released one of their greatest songs from earlier, Feel Good Drag, but this version isn't as good as the previous one. I always think it's weird when bands re-release old songs because they switch labels and they're getting exposed. It makes sense from a business perspective, but I don't know, it just strikes me as odd, especially when the version that they release is worse than the original version. Namely because of the lack of any unclean vocals in the kind of climax of the song. I think it weakens the effect of the overall impact. Before, some of the words I would have used to describe Anberlin were like distraught, melancholy, remorseful, sentimental. This one almost feels like wistful and nostalgic in a way that sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. The song Hate Street, I both like and dislike. It's weird that it's an Anberlin song, but I do like the song, and that's kind of how I feel about some of these other tracks too, like Young Life. Like, it's not a bad track, it just feels weird coming from Anberlin and knowing what they've done in the past, especially with their big albums, Never Take Friendship Personal and Cities. It's just a weird, hard shift in a direction that I don't hate it, but I don't love it either. And basically, aside from the tracks that I've mentioned, man, it's just kind of forgettable, and I don't like to say that. I really don't like to say that. But I've listened to this album so many times, and these tracks just don't stand out. They're not offensive, but they're not particularly amazing either. And for that, I feel like my overall vibe for the album is just going to be a solid 2.5 stars. It's not bad. It's not good. It's right there in the middle, and it is their most forgettable album to date. And frankly, there just isn't that much else to say about it. The next album we're going to be covering as we go through this discography is called Dark is the Way, Light is a Place. And I don't think I've ever heard this album before all the way through. So looking forward to hearing that one for the first time. I'm getting excited for the concert. It's only a couple weeks away, and so I got to get through the rest of these albums as I kind of prepare. And then I'm also planning on making a video kind of about the concert, my experiences there and how it went, kind of the fun times I have with my friends, etc. If you want to hear the updates on the rest of this Anberlin discography listen, go ahead and subscribe to our channel if you could. Hit that bell button, you'll get notifications as we post new videos. Looking forward to seeing you there. Also, a kind of general update on the vibe of the channel. You may notice I got a haircut, and it's because not only now is my mom hounding me about my hair, but I posted a video about E3 at like 3 in the morning, and somebody also mentioned that it looked like I just kind of rolled out of bed and my hair was and it was. It truly was. So I finally got a haircut. I hope that can be a little bit less distracting now. And also, I just hope that the general vibe of me just sweating profusely as it's super hot in this studio isn't that big of a deal either. Looking forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Bye.